welcome to our exclusive teaching learning interactive program, Englishwood. I'm Delguratagi and I'll be working here as a facilitator.
Hello, I'm Susmita Thin, a student, and I'm going to take part in this beautiful program.
Hello, I'm Rupa Thin, a student. I'll also be the part of this wonderful project.
Hi, this is Sabin. I'm also contributing for this project.
Hello, my name is Dipang Thing Limbu. I'm a student as well. I'm taking part in this program too.
So we are here together to provide you various teaching learning resources through this interactive media campaign.
We have a target to facilitate learning English for all those who intend to learn English.
Primarily, we are going to focus on coursebook topics in English.
So we shall begin first with the compulsory English grade 12 coursebook, The Heritage of Words.
So, we'll try to cover all the necessary information regarding the lessons in the coursebook in the form of episodes.
Well, in the future we'll cover other videos too. We'll produce different kinds of videos for different levels too. And we'll be also dealing with the various kinds of theories and techniques of language learning interactive.
We do have planned to design and produce the courses on the basis of a demand too.
So we can begin with our first lesson, Grandmother by Ray Youngbeer of the Heritage of Words grade 12 coursebook. Is that okay?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Alright, so Grandmother, who has written this poem? So do you know who is Ray Youngbeer?
He's an
He's
American
a great
Indian
American Indian
poet and novelist.
Yeah, he's American Indian poet and novelist. Okay. Before begin this lesson, what do you remember when you hear the word grandmother? Okay, so Rupa, what do you remember about your grandmother? Do you remember anything special about her?
Her cheerful face and dance you usually used to.
Still here with me.
Yeah.
Yes. I still when I hear the word grandmother, I remember her loving character, caring character. That's all.
Oh, so Sabin brother.
Oh, my grandmother, man. She's my all-running alarm. And many times I always miss her.
So she's my morning alarm.
Yeah,
So you say it.
always.
Yes, wow, fantastic. Okay, so Momta, what do you remember about your grandmother?
She was very loving and caring for me. She's not here with us now, but then I still remember her a lot. I miss her.
So reminiscences, right?
Yes.
So your grandmother's reminiscences are there with you, right?
Yes.
All right. Really next name.
If I were to see her shape from a mile away, I would know so quickly that it would be her. The purple scarf and the plastic shopping bag. If I felt hands on my head, I would know that those were her hands, warm and damp with the smell of roots. If I heard a voice coming from a rock, I would know, and her words would flow inside me like the light of someone stirring ashes from a sleeping fire at night.
Okay.
In this poem, the poet tries to manifest the relationship between his grandmother and him. He uses sensual sentences and conditional sentences to describe his grandmother. He has used his four senses to describe his grandmother. First of all, in the first paragraph, he's talking about the sense of sight, where he said that he could easily recognize his grandmother with the purple scarf and plastic shopping. Sight, hearing, and smell.
And smell. He was looked after. Ray Youngbeer was looked after by her grandmother for more than 10 years in his early time, right? And therefore, her grandmother taught her Meskwaki language, and she also encouraged him to learn English language too. And she was also the key person to teach her the culture. Okay? And therefore, basically here, the poet Ray Youngbeer is trying to show the American Indians' search for identity. So actually, identity is very important part, and by saying we want to show the identity, he says the he draws the picture of typical grandmother. For example, purple scarf and plastic shopping bag. So, and then he talks about the roots of the smell. Okay, that also refers the typical grandmother. Uses grandmother as an epitome for Native Americans. The poem has tried to pay tribute to his Native American grandmother. The poem is rich in use of symbols and images that brings out a picture of a typical Meskwaki grandmother and her native culture. Okay, for example, eyes, yeah, our shape, okay, purple scarf and plastic sobbing, and about skin and touch, warm and damp hands, okay, on his head, nose,
Smell of roots.
yeah, nose is roots of his smell of roots, okay, and that is also known as the ancestral smell, okay, ancestral. Then ear,
Voice coming from the rock.
a voice coming from the rock, okay, so he could hear her words in the land of his origin, all right.
Yes.
So I have a problem with the title, that love and reminiscences. What does this reminiscence actually mean?
Well, reminiscence means recollection of the past, basically, mental recollection of the past. Yeah, that is known as reminiscence. So itself, in this poem, the poet tries to remember his past, and he remembers his grandmother. So who is the writer of grandmother?
Ray Young Beer.
All right, grandmother by Ray Young Beer, an American Indian poet. All right. So before we start this lesson, let's talk about the grandmother.
Yes.
Most of us have grandmothers.
Yes.
In Nepali society, we have paternal grandmother, we have maternal grandmother, and in our society, we are more acquainted with our paternal grandmother, and we might have strong attachment, okay, to them. All right. So now, can you tell me? So, how is your memory with your grandmother?
I always remember her dance. Nothing else, yes. She was a great dancer. After drinking.
Talking about my paternal grandmother, she's no more, and I got to collect only few memories with her. So there are only few memories with her. As much I remember, she used to be very loving. She used to care me so much. She used to love me so much, and she used to wear our cultural dress. And talking about my
limbu dress,
yeah,
right?
limbu dress. So talking about my maternal grandmother, she's a little bit short temper, but she is very loving, caring, yeah, and she loves me so much.
He was very loving and caring for me. Well, she's not here with us now, but then I still remember her.
Can you identify your grandmother easily? How can you easily identify your grandmother?
I can identify my grandmother by her touch.
All right. So, how is her touch?
Her touch is so warm and
Comforting.
comforting.
Mother man. She's my morning alarm.
So, she's my morning alarm.
Yeah,
So, you say it.
always.
So, in this poem also, the writer talks about her grandmother, all right, and he draws the picture of his grandmother, and he appeals the sense organs, okay, to draw the picture of his grandmother. Now, so all right, so read this poem, and let's go on discussing about this poem, right?
Well, if I were to see her shape from a mile away, I would know so quickly that it would be her, the purple scarf and the plastic shopping bag.
If I felt hands on my head, I would know that those were her hands, warm and damp with the smell of roots.
if I heard a voice coming from a rock, I would know, and her words would flow inside me like the light of someone stirring ashes from a sleeping fire at night.
Let's talk about some of the thematic vocabulary of this lesson. So, which words do you think are somewhat unfamiliar to you?
Smell of roots.
Well, smell of roots refers to the smell of some of the plants, different plants, all right? So it also means smell of labor, okay?
Yes, sir.
That means it refers to rural life. This is the example of rural life. And this is also the example of Muskoki culture. So smell of roots refers to smell of labor, smell of plants, and like that.
Sir, what does a voice coming from a rock mean?
So voice coming from a rock is very metaphorical. Here rock refers to the graveyard. A rock refers to the tombstone. All right? Her grandmother is already dead. Okay? So he thinks that when the voice also comes from the grave, he could easily recognize her voice. So that's what he means to say.
Sir, what is this word flow inside refers to?
All right, so this flow inside refers that he is very much connected. All right, that means her voice would easily flow inside him. Her voice would be easily recognized by the poet, and that also means that they had her voice used to inspire them. Right? That was it was the symbol of inspiration.
Sir, what is this stirring asses?
Yeah.
It means moving slightly. It is given in the book.
Oh, in the book, oh, very good. Slide, that's good.
Sir, what do we mean by ashes?
Ashes are the burnt remains, remains of the burnt part, something.
Oh, okay.
So after burning the wood, right?
Okay.
You have dust again. That is ashes. Okay, so can you paraphrase this first stanza?
In the first stanza, he could easily recognize his grandmother from a mile away by a purple scarf and a plastic shopping bag. So he appeals a sense of sight.
If I saw her from a far distance, all right, he could easily recognize her because she would be wearing purple scarf and carrying plastic shopping bag.
In the second stanza, he could easily recognize her hands as her hands were warm and damp and has smell of roots. That means he appeals the sense of thoughts and a sense of smell.
Yes, simply we can say that if she touched me, I could easily recognize her because her hands would be damp and with the roots of smell.
In third stanza, a voice coming from the rock and her words that flow inside him like the light of someone stirring ashes appeal the sense of hearing.
So simply we can say if I heard a voice coming from the rock, if I heard a voice coming from the rock, I could easily recognize her voice because it would flow inside me and it would inspire me like someone stirring ashes of the sleeping fire. So for example, when there is the fire, after it has been burned, and if you just stir the ashes, and the sparks will come out. So similarly, he means to say that she was the source of his inspiration. Her voice would spark him. Her voice would inspire him. That's what is the.
Her voice was inspiration to him and pleasing like the warmth of the fire, right, sir?
Yeah. Her voice is pleasing, as the warmth of fire in cold times, let's say, in cold season. What sense organs has he appealed here?
Sense of sight, purple scarf and a plastic shopping bag.
Sense of thoughts, warm and damp hands. Sense of smell, smell of roots.
Sense of hearing is the voice coming from the rock.
So, well, students, what can you talk about the poem now?
This poem is about a grandmother and her reminiscences. The poet draws the picture of his grandmother, who is all loving and all inspiring. The poet could easily recognize and identify her through purple scarf, plastic shopping bag, warm and damp hands, smell of roots, and the voice coming from the rock would inspire him. Grandmother, written by an American Indian poet, Ray Youngbear, shows poet's love and reminiscence towards his grandmother.
Yeah, so basically this poem shows poet's love and reminiscence for his grandmother, all right? And he draws the picture of his grandmother as all loving and all inspiring, right?
Yes, sir.
This is first thing. Now, in order to draw the picture of his grandmother, what images does he use? So let's talk about the sight.
Purple scarf and plastic shopping bag.
Okay, that's. And what about smell?
Smell?
Smell of fruits,
Okay, smell of roots.
Smell of roots. Okay, and
thoughts.
warm and what about the touch?
Warm and damp
Warm and damp hands. Okay.
Yes.
Now, what about the hearing?
The voice coming from the rock. Yes.
So in this way, he has appealed the four sense organs to draw the
Out of 5, yes.
Image of her grandmother.
Of his
picture of his
grandmother.
grandmother. Okay, that's the basic thing. So, all right. So, anything you would like to ask more?
So we can see here about the stereotypical Indian grandmother. Can you explain
Yeah.
about that?
The book says about the stereotypical grandmother, all right? So, stereotypical grandmother refers to the grandmother living in a typical, all right, culture where she has the rural life, she has the pastoral life, okay? And for example, look at this smell of roots, okay? Smell of roots refers, okay? She's a typical grandmother, all right? So it talks about the hardships of Muskogee culture, all right? But at the same time, when the poet talks about the plastic shopping bag, it seems there is a contrast between the typical grandmother, okay, and the modernism, because plastic shopping bag represents the modernism, all right, and where smell of roots refers to the rural life, okay, and therefore there seems a contrast.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, it wants to talk about the a kind of problem with the people living in the modern area and remembering the pastoral life.
Yes.
That's one thing is also here.
So poet has used a lots of simile and metaphor to describe a grandmother.
All right, so similes and metaphors, these are very much used words in literature. So these are also known as figures of speech in English, okay? And in poems they are mostly used. Similes means the comparison using as and like. All right. For example, the similes that has been used here, like the light of someone stirring ashes from a sleeping fire. So like, so this is a simile. Whereas metaphor means comparison without using like and as. Okay.
That means.
For example, yeah.
A voice coming from a rock means a metaphor for symmetry.
Yeah. Rock refers to the metaphor symmetry, okay, or the tom is tom. So similarly, flow is the metaphor for connection, okay. So similarly, stirring ashes is the metaphor for inspiration, right? So these are a lot of metaphorical words are used there.
So in the whole poem, only one simile is used, sir?
It seems so, but anyway, similes.
We've described simile as comparison using like and as.
Like and as,
So,
yeah.
but we can find only one like
In this poem.
in this poem.
Okay, that's okay. No
That means
problem.
only a simile in the poem.
All right. Can you tell me some themes of the poem?
The poet draws the picture of his grandmother as all loving and all inspiring.
Yeah,
And,
that's one of the conclusion. But what is main theme of this poem?
Contemporary American Indian search for the identity.
Contemporary American Indian search for identity.
Love and kindness never dies.
There is special attachment to some people.
Dislocation of contemporary Native Americans pulled by two different cultures, one hardship of Muskogee and another modernization of American society.
Okay, so we can draw these many
Yes.
themes, but what do you mean by contemporary American Indian source for identity? So the poet belongs to the Muskogee culture, okay,
Yes.
and that's belongs to the Indian Muskogee culture.
Yes.
So basically, poet is Indian, okay, by nature, but he is living in America. So living in America, he tries to find out, okay, tries to source the identity of native culture. Okay? Therefore, it is
Source
not a
for
contemporary
identity.
American
Indians
in source for identity. So identity has been very important part for everyone.
Yes,
so
sir.
they are always trying to find out the identity.
Yes.
So similarly, dislocation of contemporary American, Native American
American.
cultures pulled down by two different cultures. This is also again, one part is Muskogee culture. So their life is very hard. Their
Yes.
life is very difficult. Rural life, okay. For example, a smell of roots, okay, like that.
Boy.
But on the other hand, now they are living in the developed, okay, advanced
Yes.
culture of America. So between these two things, okay, it also wants to show the contrast, okay,
Different
difference,
cultures.
okay, between these two cultures. And finally, there is a special attachment.
The poet draws the picture of his grandmother as all loving, all caring, and all inspiring through the use of sense images.
That's
So there is one, historical, okay, aspect with the poet, because the poet was raised by her grandmother, maternal grandmother, okay, and who belongs to the Muskogee culture. And this grandmother taught him the Muskogee culture, okay, Muskogee customs, okay, beliefs, all right, and she also encouraged him to learn English, okay, and
Yes.
therefore she was the source of inspiration in writing too.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, the poet has a special attachment to his grandmother,
yes.
right? So this is one of the historical part too, and finally, love.
Never
and
dies.
Never dies. All
Yes.
right. So the love the poet shows, okay, and the love the grandmother shows, okay, everything is there always.
Thank you very much for watching our videos.
And in the future, we will try to make our program more and more systematic and better.
Stay tuned with us. We'll be coming with new videos very soon.
Please don't forget to subscribe our interactive, informative, interesting and resourceful videos. Videos of Englishwood.
Our exclusive interactive
Target to so enjoy our channel and stay connected with us.
Have planned to design and produce sorry, laws.
We'll try to cover all the necessary informations regarding.
So we shall begin with first the heritage of words, grade 12, course book.
We have a target to facilitate all. Please subscribe our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon.
Thank you for watching the videos of Englishwood.